Happy New Year. And one of the best things about the new year is that it gives us a consciousness of a new beginning. And it might not be necessarily be a new beginning in terms of the things of God, but God put signs and symbols in the world for times and seasons and to help us make sense of the passing of time. So the new year has come. And one of the things the Lord said to me in particular is that we flourish. We flourish this year. And how do we flourish? We flourish by doing what King David advised us to do in Psalm 1. That's the very first psalm. Psalms are songs or poetic writings, and they're inspired by the Spirit of God. So King David of the ancient kingdom of Israel, wrote in Psalm 1, he said, blessed, meaning to be envied or to be admired is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers. So he's very particular about the company he keeps. So the one to be admired because God's favor is upon him is the one that chooses his company because of a consciousness to grow in the things of God. How do I know? Because he continues in this. In verse 2, he said, but whose delight? Now, he doesn't say whose a goal, which is quite a good thing as well. But he said, whose delight is in the law of the Lord. So someone that actually receives joy in spending time with God through the scriptures. Now, the law of the Lord here refers to the Torah. But there's something I want you to always realize about the Bible, because God was not about communicating rules. He was communicating his person. Now, the Ten Commandments, the Torah, the scriptures, New Testament, Old Testament have one aim. They reveal God's instructions, God's will, meaning God's desire concerning man, God's ways of operating. In total, they are a revelation of who God himself is. So when your delight is in the law of the Lord, meaning you're delighting in finding more about God and his thoughts, his wills, his way, his thoughts, his will, his way, and his purpose for you and the way he operates. So you get to know him through the way he thinks. You get to know him through even the 10 Commandments. Say, thou shalt not kill means God doesn't take delight in anybody killing. So you interpret it relationally, because what you are really after is the person that gave those instructions, is the person that they are talking about in the scriptures, meaning the characters in the Bible, their relationship with that person. You're learning about that person through his relationship with other people, other characters in ancient times. So that's what the Bible is about. So that's how you can take delight in something, because it's relational. So it's not just a list of do's and don'ts. No. He said, blessed, to be envied, to be admired, is the one who takes delight in company with God, in comparison with company with those who are against God or who mock God, who mock spiritual things that lead to Yedvave. So he said, whose delight is in the law of the Lord, who meditates on his law, meaning he ponders, he speaks, he mutters his word, he spends time deliberating on this law of the Lord, these words of God, day and night. Why would you spend so much time deliberating on something if it's just a book of rules? No, because it's beyond a book of rules. It's a company, keeping company with the person that the book is talking about, with the person who gives the instructions in the case of the 10 Commandments, who wrote the Torah, who instructed the Torah to be written. And that's what we call the Old Testament part of the Bible. The one that gave the instructions, the one that related with ancient people, the one that expressed himself through people. So we relate with that person, and that's why it juxtaposes verse 1 with verse 2 of this Psalm 1. So he's saying in verse 1, blessed is the man that does not walk in step with the wicked. So he's choosing his company. He doesn't stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers. So he's not choosing that company, but instead he chooses the company of God through the scriptures. So this is very important because this is the way to flourish. How do I know? Verse 3 of that same chapter tells us. He said, that person to be admired, to be envied, that person is like a tree planted by streams of water. So he's constantly nourished. He's not even trying because he's where the water flows, the rivers of living waters that come from the throne of God. You know, the Bible, Jesus said that the person that believes in him, out of his belly will flow rivers of living water because it's in constant communion with the Spirit of God. So it's a well-watered garden. So he said it's like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in season. Another translation, the CEB, says that yields its fruit. He said that yields its fruit at the right time. The person that at the right time. So he produces the fruit at the right time. The results of spending time with Yehovah through the word of God, through his words, through the scriptures, produces fruit at the right time, at the time and seasons God appoints for them. He said, he yields his fruit in season, whose leaves do not wither. So irrespective of what's happening all around him, irrespective of drought, irrespective of famine, irrespective of anything happening in the external world, it doesn't affect him because it's a well-watered garden. It has the river of life flowing through him. So because he keeps company with God through his word, he said, and whose leaves does not wither, so whatever they do prospers. Whatever they do prospers. It means it avails, it succeeds, it produces results. So this year, you have to determine that you're going to get a Bible if you don't have one. And I will encourage you, even if you use online Bibles, get a paper Bible. Because suppose something happens to your internet, you don't want to be without a Bible. Get a paper Bible, meaning a book form Bible, a traditional book form Bible. But also, I would encourage you to go to online Bible sites like Bible.com. So we have different Bible sites. The reason is because you can go deeper using different translations without having to spend a fortune. So get a paper Bible, use online Bible sites that actually go through the entire Bible, and also buy a paper Bible for somebody that cannot afford it. You can either sponsor through Bible societies, or if you know your neighbor or your friend that doesn't have a Bible, get someone a Bible. Why am I saying this? Because I've been saying this for a while. We're really at the last days. We're at the end of the rounding up of God's timetable for this earth and for this generation after Jesus Christ, because the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that's Jesus Christ whom we believe died for us and rose up on the third day, he started a generation of the church, and that generation is rounding up. It is rounding up. He said, heaven and earth will pass away, but his words will not pass away. So I want to encourage you, get a Bible. Times will look harder and darker, but what you need to do is to be planted by streams of water, fellowship, and keep company with God through the word of God, and you'll be a well-watered garden, producing your fruit in your right seasons. God bless you, and welcome to 2024. God bless you. I'm Deborah.